Hey, what's going on? What's going on? CoinOpTV subscribers, Robert Welcome here with another CoinOpTV live and interactive on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoinOpTV. We are live, we are interactive, talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story that comes out this week. I had a chance to check it out early with my buddy Abe. Unfortunately, I had to do this video before his schedule permitted us to do a little review together, so it's just going to be me talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. No spoilers here if you guys are watching in the chat. Please don't give spoilers if you guys are watching on the archive and you leave a comment. Don't do like any major spoilers. What I'll talk about is some brief things about the story. Mostly about the characters, kind of my impression of the movie so far and how I sort of feel as far as where it stands in the the top. I guess we have 10 movies Gosh, I'm losing track now. There's so many. Who would have thought now we'd see in 2016 additional Star Wars movies kind of coming out there. So we got a few people jumping in chat there. Shout outs to Master Gamer, Delingo, Connie, and Connor. So let me get a little graphic up here. So of course, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It's a spin-off tale of Star Wars. Well, not so much a spin-off. Maybe that's the wrong thing to say. It's kind of a standalone movie, a one-off. It's not a spin-off because it's actually part of the canon, part of the lore. It's actually things that have been referenced before. It takes place before Star Wars 4, A New Hope. The original Star Wars that came out back in 1977 with Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han Solo. Sorry, my voice is still a little raspy. I caught the nerd flu at PlayStation Experience. Been trying to crank out some videos, do some reviews for you guys, but it sounds like I just got a big old frog in my throat, so apologies for that, but the show must go on. So that's something, first of all, to make a mention, because some people, I don't think they quite get where the placement of this movie is. Like last year we had The Force Awakens, and that was a continuation of the Star Wars universe, but this is sort of just sliding in between. It's like after the prequels, and then in between that, before we get to episodes 4, 5, and 6, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and of course Return of the Jedi, which to me are like the best trilogy of it there. Master Gamer says, I'm going to see it Saturday. Cool. The Destroyers in chat says hello. So that's the first thing to take note. Now, this might be a minor detail that hasn't really been talked about or spoiled, but if it's not really germane to the plot or anything, but there's no text crawl in the beginning. Like usually there's the credits and stuff. There's like the text scroll, and it sort of says the episode number and what's been going on in the universe, the Star Wars universe, the lore. There's none of that. So it's interesting if you go in this blindly, you don't even know where this takes place or what's happening. You're not given any information at all. It's kind of like a big giant blank slate. And it was really weird seeing a Star Wars movie without the crawl, sort of saying, long ago, galaxy far, far away. Well, it has that title card, but doesn't have the Empire has been doing this, and they're building this Death Star, and all these rebels and the Empire and all that stuff is happening. No crawl there, so it was weird. And what they did do is they just showed you about 5 or 6 different planets, and they gave you a little title, and then they just kind of jumped in and introduced you to the cavalcade, the cast of characters. Here's sort of a good photo here from the poster where they introduce things. So probably my biggest complaint with the movie was kind of the way it kicked off. They went from planet to planet, introducing different characters, and it was a lot to soak in. This is the first time we're meeting these characters. We got to learn their names. We got to learn if they're good, they're bad, what their motives are, if they're alien or human, if they're for the rebels, for the Empire. So that was an interesting sort of take, just kind of showing kind of almost this introduction sort of 20-minute. It wasn't really a montage, but it was kind of like an exposition of characters. So that was kind of an area that I wasn't really too excited about. As far as cinematic goes and storytelling and screenwriting and stuff like that, pretty, I don't know, it just didn't really hit me at all. It was a lot to swallow. It's like if you played a video game and there was just a lot right in the front to sort of digest and process, and it really wasn't told well. So that was kind of a thing. But once we did meet everybody and we got to like the story at hand, the rebels. If you guys seen the trail, you kind of get a little bit of an idea of the story. I mean, briefly, it's, we kind of follow the tale of the rebels getting the plans to the Death Star, so we get to sort of see the Death Star in its early phases, and the rebels kind of getting the plans. That's kind of the gist of the plot. So once that kind of takes off and they group together, and there's all the characters that you see in this photo here pretty much are together, then things get interesting and kick off, and it's a wild ride. It's a lot of action. There's a lot of stuff happening. It's a little easier of a plot to sort of take in. It's just that first like 20 minutes or so, we introduced to like many different planets and people, and the context is a little vague in areas, kind of threw me for a loop. So Nathan says, is there an opening crawl? So no opening crawl in the movie there. Hello, Lewis is in chat as well. All right, let's talk about some of the characters here. Now, Felicity Jones plays Jyn Erso. Now, I believe that she was sort of pegged to be kind of the lead character of this movie originally when they cast her, and they were putting trailers out, and they were talking about Rogue One. But then it seemed like maybe there was some backlash with her, the way she was portraying the character, maybe her acting or editing or her lines in general. I know there was a few lines that she had said in some of the early trailers that were very cringeworthy, especially like the line where she says, we're rebels, we rebel, or I'm a rebel, we rebel, or something like that. Thankfully, that line's been cut out, but they still kept in the line where she says, like, may the force be with us, and she kind of looks like she smirks or rolls her eyes, something that's in one of the other trailers and stuff. Kind of wish they would have cut that line out, too, because the force really isn't like a presence in this movie and stuff, so any reference to the force kind of feels a little out of place. It's almost like a forceless movie, so whenever there is mention of the force, it really feels forced. I just made that up right on the spot there. Much like the most of my jokes are just kind of made up. So now I've seen Felicity Jones in a lot of other movies. I think she's a fine, talented actress. Just not quite sure if she was a great fit for this movie and this role. So what happens is they made the movie, then they kind of showed it to test audiences or whatever, and they shot more things and they re-edited stuff. There's been a lot of like post-production stuff, and I have the feeling that some of her stuff was left on the cutting room floor, and I think maybe that's for a good reason. Now who turned out to be sort of like the hero of the movie was Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor. Because of the way the movie was finalized, he kind of winds up being almost like the hero. He's kind of like the driving force of the movie. He makes a lot of big decisions, whether or not to go somewhere or do something. He actually helps rallies together some of his posse. He kind of helps form the posse. I mean, Jyn Erso is just, she's kind of like a tag along or something like that. So if you guys are excited for Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, he winds up becoming kind of the star of the movie there. But the real star of the movie, and it's funny because I've actually asked on Instagram and Twitter, hey, who are you most excited about for the new characters for Rogue One? And everybody has said they're most excited about K2SO, the new robot, we'll say, in the Star Wars universe, the voice of Alan Tudyk. Excuse me. Now, he pretty much stole the show. This new robot here, K2SO, new character, tall, gigantic, has like strong, unlimited powers, and smart, and just like kind of a funny, witty sense of humor. Just pretty much cracking jokes along the way. He a former Imperial robot that was sort of captured and then reprogrammed, so he sort of fights for the Alliance and the Rebels, so that's kind of a little bit of his story there. But pretty much any scene that he's in, the audience was laughing, we're having a good time. There was good jokes. I mean, like, if last time around we saw like the Star Wars The Force Awakens with BB-8 on screen, and whenever BB-8 was on screen, it was just like charming and fun, and you're just like, oh, he's so cuddly, I want to get that BB-8 for myself. Now we've got kind of the opposite. We've got like a tall robot that's cracking jokes the entire time, that's like super strong and can take care of business and becomes like a good asset to the team. So I would probably say he's also my favorite character as well, K2SO. So if I'm going to go buying toys and shopping for Star Wars Rogue One toys or something like that, I'll probably get a figure of that. Let me jump over to chat. Rency's in chat. He says, can't wait to see Rogue One. Cool. Let's see. If you guys have seen some of the trailers and stuff like that, you know that we got some more awesome characters in the movie here. Just kind of show you a few. Of course, this is Mads here. And we got Riz plays Bodhi. And I guess another like sort of big important character role we've got is Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker. I've been a fan of Forrest Whitaker for years and years. What he did in this movie, as far as I don't know if it was him or the director or what, but the way he acted in Rogue One was very bizarre. Like, he just kind of talked in like weird fragmented sentences, and I get that like his character was sort of falling apart, I guess, maybe, I don't really know. Apparently he's like a character that was in like the cartoon, the animated, and Star Wars Rebels. I don't really know that character that well because I'm a little behind on the animation, the shows, but something about the way he sort of turned this character was very strange. He almost seemed like he was turning into like a robot. Maybe that's the way he kind of portrayed it, but we'll give him a pass. Let's see. We got we did have like a very like cultural diverse cast, with different races and males and females all over. Donnie Yen, who is an Asian cinema actor, played Chirrut Imwe, if I'm saying that name right. He is kind of like a martial artist who is in tune with the Force. He's the closest thing we really get to the Force as a regular kind of thing. He mentions kind of the Force. He's like, I'm in tune with the Force. He kind of has like a prayer, and he mentions how he's in tune with the Force. So he is kind of like the closest thing we get to sort of, the Force on the Rebels side there. We got to see a lot of new stormtroopers. Of course, if you guys have seen some of the trailers, you guys have seen, some of the original ships there, the X-Wings and the Y-Wings. There was a new ship in there that I had never seen before. I don't know what the name of it was, but it looked like kind of a combination of like a X-Wing and something else there. But, it's pretty cool. But the costumes and the details, everything looked really spot on with, it really looked like the way they dressed things up and the way they shot things, that it looked like it took place before Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So that was really cool and faithful. An area that I had some problems with, again, I mentioned sort of pros and cons, is the villain of the movie. Ben Mendelsohn plays Orson Krennic, who's the villain of the movie. Now, when I've seen photos of this guy, I thought, oh man, the cape and the white, everything looks cool. It looks like he's going to be intimidating, but turned out he wasn't really all that intimidating and scary. He kind of had like a lisp. The way he talked wasn't very fierce and tense. He wasn't very tall. I'm not a very tall person, but if I want to cast a villain in a movie, I feel like I need to have him like sort of tall and crazy, and just the way they speak, just very commanding and stuff like that. And I didn't get anything out of him. And when people ask me like, hey, what makes a good hero in a movie, I generally say, the first thing I usually say is a good villain. So I'm not really sure I found him to be a good villain. And, that was kind of, a thing. Of course, we the real villain is really like the Empire, with Darth Vader and, the Empire at work there and stormtroopers and stuff. And he is just like one facet of the villainous thing, but he's kind of like the main voice that you kind of get in there. So let's see here. Rency says, what's up with Darth Vader in Rogue One? Well, yeah, you guys, I don't really want to talk about it too much, but yeah, if you didn't know, Darth Vader is in Rogue One. That's kind of about all I want to say, because I don't really want to spoil, how much he's in the movie, what he does, stuff like that, because I have a feeling that a lot of you guys are excited about Rogue One. You want to check it out. I just want to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what I thought of some of the characters, some of the stuff going on. As far as the movie goes overall and the plot, I did enjoy the movie. There's a lot of areas that I didn't like, and it mostly to me was like the casting and the characters. But once it got to like the action and the fight scenes and the story of just kind of going out and saying, hey, okay, we got a small band of rebels, we got to go get the Death Star plans. Once all that stuff was happening, we were kind of along for the ride, and it was fun and it was entertaining. There wasn't anything that really, like, any moments where I was like, OMG, like, this is like the best thing in the world. But there were a few moments where I was like, OMG, I can't believe they did that. And, you know, I'll just say there was a lot of strange decisions that were made, and I saw my buddy Abe, and I actually like bumped him, and I was like, hey, is that what's going on there? And you know, yeah, there was a few of those. So you'll sort of see, once you see the movie, what I'm talking about. You'll be like, oh, I know what Rob's talking about, these weird decisions that, you know, Disney and Star Wars made going to this movie on a technical level, we'll just say. But, you know, overall, fun, good time. It seemed like most of the people in the theater were having a great time. A lot of smiles afterwards. You know, after we see a movie, you know, just sort of check it in, sort of see like, hey, what are people thinking? I've watched a few reviews already from some of the early reviews. Some people are just eating Rogue One up like it's the best Star Wars movie ever. It is not. It is definitely not. Star Wars: The Force Awakens was 10 times better than Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And if I had to buy a Blu-ray or DVD or rewatch a movie, I would definitely watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens many, many times more than I would Rogue One. Although I do feel that, you know, it's an important film, and it's interesting that it was something that was made. It was kind of like this one-off, this offshoot, this kind of spin-off-y type of movie. And it'll be interesting to see how things go with kind of like the Han Solo movies and some of these other, you know, spin-offs things. I just kind of want to see more of Luke, Leia, you know, Darth, Jedis, Yoda, any of that stuff. That to me is Star Wars, and this just felt more of like a fan film with like a big giant high budget to it. And yeah, there's definitely a disconnect, you know, with not having the crawl, not having like John Williams music, sort of. You know, well, there was some John Williams music, but not like the main score, stuff like that. So I will be curious to see what you guys think, and let's compare other sort of reviews, because people are giving this movie like 10s and saying it's like the best Star Wars movie ever. I wouldn't say that, and you know, you guys may hate me in comments or whatever, not watch my videos, I don't care, but you know, I just want to be sort of upfront honest with you. I do think it was a fun movie and worth checking out, especially a spectacle to see in the theaters. So you know, definitely you want to check it out. You don't want to wait till it comes out, you know, on video, or by then when it's already spoiled, because there are like a lot of Easter eggs and things like that you don't want to get spoiled on. So I think I'm going to wrap up this video. Thanks a bunch for all you guys and girls watching me on the live stream. If you guys watch this on the archive, please, you know, let me know what your comments are after you see the movie. Thanks again to Disney for sending me out to a screening. I guess that's it for this episode for CoinOpTV. We'll see you next time.